Hello everyone, and welcome back to another YouTube video. And I'll just quickly do a brief introduction in case this is the first video that someone watches of mine. So my name is Zoe Jean from Zoe Jean Coaching, and I'm an anxiety and mindset coach, helping women to heal their anxiety from all over the world and giving them all the tools and techniques they need to be able to heal their anxiety, right? Which is mindset work, rewiring the programs to your subconscious mind, body connection work, so building a deep connection with your body so you can be healthy, well, and understand your body. Nervous system regulation, right? Because you can't be happy, calm, feel happy, calm, at peace and safe if you don't have a regulated nervous system. And then building sustainable habits as well, because how we do everything in life also always results, everything we do comes from a habit, right? So you need to be able to rewire the past habits that aren't serving you and to be able to create new empowering ones. So if you want to heal your anxiety, if you want long-term results, then it really includes incorporating all of these components. So mindset, body connection, nervous system regulation, and habits. And I help women to heal their anxiety using all of these components through the Rewrite Your Anxiety method. So it helps women to master their mindset, build a deep connection with their body, regulate their nervous system, and create sustainable positive habits. So if you're one of these women out there that have been trying for so long and nothing's working, or you just have no idea where to start, then feel free to comment below if you'd like to learn more about how this process could possibly help you, because I really truly made this program and made this process to make it as simple and easy as possible, so you don't give up like I nearly did, or so it doesn't take you 14 years or more to be able to heal your anxiety like it did for me, because that was a very long time, and therefore it caused a lot of damage and issues in my body, and some of them that I'm still having to deal with, and I don't want that for you. Like, the sooner we can heal our anxiety, the better. So thank you guys all so much for watching. Come say hi in the comments, right? Say your name in the comments and where you're from and what brings you to this video. And today's video is all about how to listen to your body and know what your body is asking for and what your body enjoys doing. Because another reason, like when we're stuck in chronic anxiety, when we're stuck in our head, we get so disconnected from our body, so disconnected from what our body needs and what our body's asking for. Our body starts whispering that something's wrong and we don't listen, so it starts to get louder and louder and louder until, it screams at us, or we get seriously sick, or we go into burnout. Quite often that's what it takes before we listen to our body. And that's what happened to me, right? I got some serious health issues from my anxiety because I wasn't listening to my body until it got to that point, and I don't want that for you. So why don't we start to, listen to your body? And do you actually know, do any of you know here what your body is trying to tell you? Have you ever taken the time to listen to your body? Or are you pretty much always stuck in your head? Let me know in the comments. Do you ever listen to your body? And do you know what brings you the most connection to your body? Like if you do exercise, or if you do self-care techniques or anything like that, do you actually do what feels good for your body? Or do you do what you feel you have to do based on what other people have said? Because it's really important to do whatever feels good for you. Whether that's breath work, whether that's meditation, whether that's a mindful shower, whether that's journaling, whether that's dancing, whether that's being out in nature, whether that's, shaking, whether that's, rolling on the floor, whether that's yoga. There's so many different ways that can bring you that deep connection to your body. So I invite you to ask yourself, which one of those feels good for you? Which one of those? Have you tried any of those before? If you have, which ones have worked and which ones haven't worked? Or maybe you've done some of them once and then they didn't feel right, so you just gave up. Just know that sometimes it can take a little while to adjust to something, right? So don't give up after only trying it once. Give yourself time to adjust and to, start to like it, right? Don't just do it once and then expect that it didn't work because I didn't like it once. Give yourself time. try some of these practices maybe daily for a week before moving on to something else, because if you just do it once and then try something else and then the same thing happens, and you're going to end up feeling like you've tried nothing, and you're going to feel lonely, defeated, and like nothing's working. So definitely give things time to adjust, give your body time to take it all in, and time to relax a little bit and start to understand the process better before you just move on and give up. Because we want you to do whatever brings you the most connection to your body and whatever you enjoy doing. Because if it doesn't bring connection to your body, then it's not going to help to get you out of your head and into your body. It's not going to help with your nervous system regulation if it's not something you enjoy doing and feels good for you. And also, if you don't enjoy doing, it's not going to be sustainable, right? We only do something long term, and it only becomes long-term sustainable if we actually enjoy it. So it has to be something you enjoy. Like, don't force yourself to journal in the morning if journaling doesn't work for you. You know, like maybe even going for a walk and recording your thoughts in your phone. Maybe that works better for you than sitting down and journaling. Like, there's so many different things that you can do, and it's just about finding what works for you rather than giving up when you think something doesn't work for you, or feeling broken because what you're told to do by someone else doesn't work for you. That's why I'm all about helping each individual to find what works for them. And that's what I do in my program as well, because, you know, you follow people on social media, or you go into certain people's programs or get certain support from psychologists or therapists, and they tell you to do this one thing. And if you can't do that one thing, or you don't understand it, or it doesn't resonate with you, you think that something's wrong with you, you give up, you think healing is not for you. And that is not how it should be. Anyone that you see for support should help you find exactly what works for you. And that's what I'm all about in this training. That's what I'm all about in my programs. So if you desire some help to find what works for you, comment below, I want some support to find what works for me, or even just me. Let me know. You're not alone, and I'm more than happy to help you find what works for you. And I'm also wondering, you know, what other self-care practices have you tried in the past, and, you know, what's worked and what hasn't worked. And it's also how you look at things. Like, maybe you feel you don't have time for self-care practices, but how can you make a little bit more time for your self-care practices? Like, maybe like when you have a shower, take a little bit longer and you have a mindful shower, or have a shower and then spend a long time doing your hair, and, you know, maybe changing your hairstyle or doing your nails. Like, you can incorporate a little bit more self-care time into the things you already do regularly, like taking a shower, for example. And, you know, it's also really important to explore different parts of self-care, right? Because some of us are really good at certain parts of self-care and not so good at others. But if you want to have an overall healthy body and mind, you really need to be incorporating all the areas of self-care, which is physical, social, mental, spiritual, and emotional. For example, physical care is things like how you feel, how you're feeling your body, how you're feeling, fueling your body, like, you know, so what you're eating, how much sleep you're getting, you know, how much physical activity you're doing, and everything like that. And I feel like this is one, other than sleep, sometimes this is one that a lot of people do well, because people generally put their physical health above anything, because they feel they have to look a certain way and have to have a certain amount of muscle and be a certain and be fit enough. So I feel like this is something that a lot of people generally do best with, but it might not be for you. So I really want you to ask yourself, are you getting enough sleep? Are you filling your body with the right foods? Are you taking care of your health? Are you doing enough exercise? Really ask yourself these questions. And if you know you are, then that's cool. Then that's not something that you need to work on. You're already doing it well. Or maybe you're doing some of this stuff too much, that you need to tone it down a little bit so you have time to look after your self-care in other ways. For example, if you weren't doing well here, how could you improve? Maybe you could go to bed a little bit earlier. Maybe you could drink more water. And if you don't like drinking water, maybe you could put like a supplement in there to make it taste nice, or, you know, fizzy or something. One of those healthier physios to make it similar to soft drink, for example, if you like soft drink. And another one is social care. And I feel like this is something that some of us do struggle with, especially if we have social anxiety. So you might not be getting enough social self-care. You might not be socializing with enough people. Maybe you're staying inside majority of the time. Maybe you don't even leave the house, or maybe you leave the house but only for work. You know, maybe you're not getting that social care, that social aspect in life, and that connection. When we all crave that love and connection, right? Just sometimes we get such in that deep place of, you know, social anxiety, that it just feels impossible and scary and uncomfortable. So we don't end up getting that part. We don't end up meeting that need. And then therefore that spirals into other, you know, illnesses and feelings and sensations. So I really want you to ask yourself, you know, are you getting enough face-to-face time with your friends, with your family? And how are you nourishing your relationships with your friends and your family or your partner? How are you nourishing them and keeping them well and keeping the connection good? And if this is something that you struggle with, how can you improve? Like maybe if you don't go out much because you've got social anxiety and you don't like going out and seeing people face to face, maybe you can start by doing a FaceTime with someone, or even just a regular phone call. And maybe schedule in to do this with one person once a week, or a different person once a week, just to get a bit more of that social connection time. Even if, you know, going out is too much, start with a phone call, start with a voice call. You know, maybe you could do, you know, run errands with your friends or with your family, so you can get things done that need to be done at the same time as getting that connection. You know, maybe you could check out your local community centres, or create Facebook events to, you know, meet people, or go on Facebook and look at events and see what you're interested in that you could go to, or a meetup event. But I know for a lot of people with anxiety, social anxiety, that can be very difficult. So that's why it's good to start small if needed with, you know, the FaceTime and the voice call, and even go to a community centre or go to an event, but maybe take someone with you that you can trust for the first time. Or maybe go to the space that's going to be held beforehand to kind of get a feel of what it's like, so you know a bit about it before going, so therefore you feel less anxious. And then how are you looking after your mental self-care? And when I mean mental, I mean like stimulating your brain, you know, because your analytical sort of brain, you know, through, you know, doing word searches or crosswords or puzzles or Sudoku. Because, you know, we learn a lot of stuff in school, right? But a lot of that stuff, you know, we don't use. And if we never use it, we can lose that part. You know, they say you use it or lose it, right? So it's really good to still use that part of your brain. You know, keep that part of your brain, your analytical part, moving, and keep using it. You know, so do you currently have a way that you use that? Maybe you do because you've got a job that requires that. Or maybe you don't. So how can you start incorporating that? What would, you know, feel good for you? So, you know, are you making enough time for activities that mentally stimulate you? Are you doing proactive things to help you stay mentally healthy? So as I said, you know, you could do Sudoku, you could do word searches, you could do a puzzle, you could even do, you know, read personal development books or any type of book, or listen to podcasts. There's lots of different things you could do. You could even do mindful colouring, right? Because that still takes a level of concentration. So it's kind of anything that takes a certain level of, you know, concentration that's going to stimulate you, basically. And then there's also spiritual self-care. Spiritual self-care looks into spirituality and your religion. So are you currently, you know, listening to your spiritual life and taking that into account. You know, what questions do you ask yourself about your life and your experience? And are you engaging in spiritual practice that you find fulfilling and uplift you and bring you back to that place of peace, happiness, calm? You know, other ways that you could become a bit more spiritual. You could do more meditations. You could start to do a prayer. You could chant mantras. You could get into nature, yoga. You could read spiritual books or visit a spiritual place. And then emotional self-care. This one's really important that I feel like a lot of us don't do, right? And that's where we get caught up in that chronic anxiety and those chronic negative thoughts, because we don't take the time to process our emotions and move forward and question them. We just let them be there, and then they spiral, and then they get worse, and then they start off small, but because they started spiraling because we didn't do anything about it, they then move into other areas of our life. Like my anxiety started really small, but because I didn't have that emotional self-care, it spiraled out of control to being chronically stressed and anxious about everything. So emotional self-care is so, so important. So how can you find healthy ways to process your emotions? Rather than just suppressing them, how can you find healthy ways? How would you feel comfortable to express your emotions? Would it be through talking to someone? Would it be through writing them down? Would it be through recording your thoughts? Could it be through, you know, talking to a professional like myself or a therapist or a counselor? And do you incorporate daily activities that help you feel relaxed and recharge and kind of help you get your emotion and feelings out? Because it's so, so important to do so. The more you suppress your feelings and emotions, the worse they get. It doesn't make it better. It doesn't make it go away. It does make it go away for the short term, but it comes back stronger and stronger. Trust me. Like, that's why my chronic stress and anxiety lasts 14 years. So start to find ways that you can process your emotions more, you know, whether it's journaling your thoughts, whether it's getting your anger and frustration out using your pillow against the floor or the wall, whether it's shaking, whether it's running, whether it's boxing or a workout, whether, you know, it's rolling, whether it's rolling your back, like rolling yourself up into a ball and then rolling back and forth on the floor. There's so many different ways. And again, don't forget about talking to people about it, recording yourself speak. Like, there's so many ways. Just anything to kind of get your emotions out and know that your emotions are valid and it's okay to feel them, and to just know that it's okay to feel them and understand them and listen to them and ask them questions, you know, give them compassion. The best way to process your emotions and move forward is to be able to listen to them, give them compassion, and begin to question them. So I'd love for you all to let me know in the comments, you know, which one of these maybe you struggle with the most that you're going to start incorporating, you know, whether that's physical, whether that's mental, whether that's spiritual, whether that's emotional. Let me know which one you're going to start to practice, because it's so, so important for you to make sure you're hitting all of these elements of self-care as well, because it's going to make a world of difference in your overall health and well-being, and also in healing your anxiety as well. So how are you going to start taking control of your mental health? How are you going to start taking control of your emotional health, of your spiritual health, and your physical health? Let me know in the comments. And if you want some support on how to start, you know, incorporating these more into your daily life, also feel free to comment below me, or I want some support, and I'm more than happy to help you with that, because I know it can be a hard, confusing process and you don't really know where to start, and you don't have that person keeping you accountable or to talk through how you're feeling. And if that's you, then feel free to reach out. I'll be more than happy to help. And thank you so much for joining. I will see you for the next video. Bye.